Hello everyone, welcome back to another Roman Reacts. We are here tonight to watch another video for you. This one is a request video. I'm going to leave the guy's thing down below. But this is the entire storyline of Fortnite. This was recommended to me, and it's a I guess it's a continuation of what I recently saw with all the Fortnite trailers. So yeah, we're going to be giving this a watch and seeing the entire storyline. It is going to be a long one, so once again, we got some popcorn here, and we got a soda. Non-sponsored, by the way. I wish I was. I know I keep making the same joke, but sometimes it's got to stick somehow, like the bananas. Whatever. Anyway, we're going to be giving this a watch and having a go. And yeah, just be sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit those notifications if you want to see more of me, and just give me some little support here and there. And yeah, I do appreciate that. Okay, so let's dive on in, shall we? Okay, we got that set and it's all good. So yeah, it's going to be a long one. Yeah, let's just give this a watch, see what it's all about. So the entire storyline of Fortnite. 3, 2, 1.
Fortnite Storyline is 6 years in the making, and in that time we followed a journey that ties every single event, season, and character together. While key moments come and go, there is one thing that has always remained constant. It has stood the test of time as wars have been fought above it, supervillains have tried to steal it, and it is destabilized way too often. From the first appearance in the Butterfly event to now being the key of Chapter 5, this is the entire Fortnite storyline explained. So many things have changed since our first video, but not where this story started. All of this began millions of years ago when there was a Big Bang. It formed every single universe in an instant, and at the center of it all was Reality Zero. It's here where the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy, and instead of spreading it out, the energy compressed itself into an orb we call the 0 point. This is tethered to every single reality in existence, connecting the entire Omniverse, and that's what makes it so incredibly powerful. As a result, it needed to protect itself from anyone who tried to wield this power, and this is where the island is created. On the surface, it appears as a powerful storm with a fake sky, appearing as a huge bubble in space and time. Anyone who tried to visit this island would either be wiped out by the storm's defenses or manipulated by the 0 point's strange effects, until one man came along. Against all of the odds, he captured control of the orb and began to wield its power. We know him as Geno. He's a scientist who is obsessed with perfection and also leader of a medieval kingdom known as the Oathbound. During his time ruling as a champion, Geno started to experiment with future technologies. We're not sure how he discovered the 0 point, but once it was located, he instantly realized its full potential. His long-term vision was to create the perfect society, and his time with the Oathbound was just phase 1 of his true destiny. With the orb, he knew that if he could see how every reality was made and what was different about each one, he could use that information to truly create perfection. So one day he left behind his homeworld, but Geno wanted the kingdom to not lose their leader. In his place, he left behind a clone of himself known as a snapshot. There's still more research to be done into how snapshots truly work, but we do know they're created when someone leaves the loop. Originally, the loop worked very differently, but once Geno got his hands on it, he began to sculpt it for his own evil intentions. So along with the mysterious inner circle, Geno set out to create a new organization known as the Imagined Order. Their headquarters are built around the 0 point, with this location being codenamed the Bridge. With the newfound power, the IO were able to control the effects of the storm, alter people's memories, even unlock immortality. Now, to recruit people for their perfect society, the IO created the Loop. It's a program that forces people to fight each other, but to make it a fair battle, it removes your memory, ability to speak, and every 22 minutes, you fight all over again. It sounds like a great way to judge people, but no one would ever agree to this. So they started kidnapping subjects from countless realities. It was working perfectly. As more fighters proved themselves, Geno offered them immortality in return for joining the Imagined Order. Not only that, their whole family could live on the island and experience the same benefits. It's why we see towns and houses on the map. Not everyone is as lucky though. In fact, some IO guards don't even know they had a previous life. Their memories got wiped as they were forced to know only one thing: how to protect the Order. Thousands of years later, the organization had grown massively and mostly went under the radar until they kidnapped the wrong people. Those who were way too intelligent for the loop and managed to escape it without consequences. This unlikely group of vigilantes are from all corners of the universe, and despite being very different, they have one goal: destroying the Imagined Order and liberating the 0 point. We know them as the 7. On March 20th, 2018, people living on the island look up to the sky. Something is approaching. They rush to grab a telescope, getting a closer look at the object shooting towards them. It's a meteor. Panic ensues as they try to predict where it'll hit, with some villagers thinking it's aliens or an extraterrestrial visitor, and if only they knew how right they were. In April, TVs around the island begin to show an emergency broadcast to prepare for the collision. As the meteor gets closer and closer, they brace for impact. A huge crater is left in the ground as the Imagined Order rushes to investigate. They build a facility at the crash site, disguising themselves as the government. Well, unfortunately for them, they weren't fast enough. A mysterious character breaks out of the meteor and escapes the facility, and this is our first introduction to the Visitor. He's on a mission to test the capabilities of their airtight suits, which we learn later on protects them from the effects of the loop. It's a success, as he steals a rocket from a film set and converts it to Rift back home.
Okay.
This was supposed to be a harmless mission. Instead, it began the Fortnite storyline as we know it, a simple rift that would ultimately invite pure evil to the island and kickstart 6 years of bloodshed and war. So before the Visitor's rift can close, a dark energy emerges. It's a cube? Well, this may look relatively harmless. It has the power to destroy the island in a single blow. It's bright purple flowing with corruption, which spreads to anyone who touches it. And so this cube begins to roll around the island, leaving behind runes while searching for its target, the 0 point. Eventually, the search leads it to Loot Lake, where the cube begins to destabilize. The 0 point is barely able to defend itself, and within months, it's already facing a new threat. A huge shard of ice crashes into the island, bringing a harsh winter with it and a mysterious castle of unknown origin. It belongs to a power-hungry Ice King who we learn has plenty of prisoners. One of them is trapped in blocks of ice, and as the fragment crashes into the island, he's able to break free. With the chains gone, he's revealed to be the Fire King, a rival who is equally as powerful. Both of them want to take the island for themselves. As opposite elements, they can't survive the climate of this place. So, the Ice King covers the island in snow, cooling the temperature to his liking. His arch-nemesis responds, stealing dragon eggs from the dungeon and using them to create a small army of hybrids. It's enough for him to fight back and create a huge volcano that'll destroy Polar Peak. But before his plan comes to fruition, the Ice King defeats him in a war, with the prisoner frozen in the ocean for good. Well, fortunately for him, the volcano still erupts, sending fireballs hurling at the island's biggest cities, and of course, the castle. It breaches the iceberg, unleashing a monster that was secretly kept in the deepest dungeon. Yeah, it immediately breaks free, and the Imagined Order don't really care. They're perfectly fine with the monster damaging the island, as long as it doesn't touch the 0 point. The solution is to create a doomsday weapon that'll wipe out everyone on the surface, including the monster. Well, that's when a prisoner of their own speaks up. The Paradigm, a member of the Seven, explains that they can't just let everyone die, so she offers a better solution, to pilot a giant robot and kill the monster herself. They reluctantly move forward with the plan, constructing the mech in the hollowed out volcano. It is time for the final showdown. And in the ultimate live event, Paradigm slays the monster with the sword. The rotting corpse is left on the island. She knows that if she sticks around, the IO will recapture her, so she begins her escape, flying directly upwards into space. Her new mission, investigate where the monster came from. When they learn about this, the Seven are furious. They think she betrayed them by working with the IO, and after her escape, it's radio silence. Pretty quick, they learn that a robot was crashed into a nearby planet called the Ice Moon. The temperature is simply way too cold for a human to survive, so she must have never made it. And that brings us back to the island, where the Imagined Order has bigger problems than their prisoner escaping. Before the monster was killed by Paradigm, it broke into the 0 point's vault. Grabbing the orb, she used it to stun the Devourer, but this left the 0 point exposed, and it was destabilizing fast. As it begins to implode, the Imagined Order has no hope of saving it, but luckily someone else does. The Seven are sworn protectors of the 0 point. Time itself is breaking down, bringing the meteor and other locations from the past to the island. Out of the new meteor emerges our latest member, the scientist, who is already preparing a plan to save reality. He builds these rift beacons around the island, using their power to gather resources and prepare the other members of the Seven for their plan. Together, they'll use rifts to unpause time and jumpstart the 0 point into stabilizing. But for that to work, they need the meteor.
Okay. Multiple rockets, okay. Basically to revert itself. I saw the Batman symbol. Holy crap! That leads into chapter 2, okay. And that's why they changed everything.
The island has now been reshaped by the Zero Point, split into two pieces of land that sandwich the orb for extra protection. The Imagined Order needs to re-establish control over the island, and fast. They send agents to survey the area, but quickly they come face to face with their snapshots. But only one problem, these snapshots are different. They're altered by an evil mad scientist known as Chaos Agent. The scientist belongs to a secret crime syndicate Shadow, founded by Midas, a powerful and greedy leader. His true power is in the form of the Golden Touch, a curse that was placed on him after he tried to steal the treasures of an ancient king. And despite this, Midas' organization is taken from underneath him as Chaos Agent rises to grab power. With his vast wealth, Midas makes a new organization, Ghost, and its purposes are very different. Instead of committing crime, Ghost becomes a secret agency that spies on the mysterious activities around the island. Quickly, Midas learns about the loop in the Imagined Order, and he is blown away by their evil plans. This causes him to recruit his daughter Jules, who's been a master engineer her entire life. To distract the IO from his plans, he wages war against Shadow to cover up his true intentions, building a device that'll destroy the loop for good. He believes the key to doing this is the Storm. It's how the Imagined Order enforced the loop by bringing it in every 22 minutes to kill whoever's left standing. So by pushing it back, you'll free everyone trapped by its wrath. What he doesn't know is that the Imagined Order is already keeping tabs on him. John Jones is a field agent who has dedicated his life to the Order. Under the oath, he has done covert work on the island hundreds of times, leaving a snapshot every single time he re-enters the loop. But before Jones can figure out Midas' plan, it is sprung into action as the device event. Midas' plan works, until things get weird. He didn't account for the fact that the storm isn't just lightning, it's alive and controlled by the Zero Point.
Connected to the loop, but there's no way we could have predicted that it would react this way.
In a defensive reaction, the storm protects itself by creating a giant wall of water. Midas has failed, and over time the wall collapses, flooding the island and wiping out Ghost and Shadow's territory. It isn't long before Agent Jones has to face yet another threat to the IO's reign. Turns out that when the Zero Point created this reshaped island, it released an enormous amount of energy. In a case of extreme unluckiness, it got the attention of a being from another universe, one that we are very familiar with. It is here that crossovers enter the storyline, because this threat from outer space is none other than Galactus, Devourer of Worlds. He's drawn to this massive energy surge and is desperate to consume the planet that contains it. Of course, it's the Fortnite Island, and because Galactus is from the Marvel Universe, it also brings a whole cast of characters to protect us. If he's able to devour the Zero Point, it would destroy reality as we know it. This kickstarts a plan from Tony Stark to build rift beacons around the map and bring his lab to the island. Every day, the island's residents see this being get closer, and just before he arrives, the plan is revealed. Tony spent all this time building custom battle buses and fitting them with explosives, cannons, and lasers, and now the day has come.
That's crazy.
We're able to to fight him off, and ultimately, he maybe got a little too much power before he rifted him away for good, and this causes major problems. With Galactus exposing the Zero Point, it has once again started to destabilize. We know this time period as the Zero Crisis, and this time the Seven aren't here to save it. So right now the Imagined Order is panicking, but for a different reason. They don't care if reality breaks down, they just want to make sure nobody jumps into the Zero Point and escapes the loop. So they send Agent Jones on a task. He travels through 88 different realities, jump after jump, to recruit the galaxy's best bounty hunters so they can hunt down those trying to leave. After spending months on this task, he returns only to find that the Zero Point is worse than he left it. He begs his boss, Dr. Sloan, to do something, but she won't listen.
What's the point of recording these logs if you're not gonna listen? We've lost control of the Zero Point. Do you get what that means? You must not, because you're doing nothing. I've dedicated my life to the Order. I've given everything. And for what? To just sit back and watch reality end? That's not who we are. At least it's not who I am. Not anymore.
Time is running out and Jones refuses to submit. Instead, he takes matters into his own hands, defecting from the IO for good. And that's when he breaks into the bridge searching for a secret file.
This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. Oh, really? No time to stabilize reality, but plenty of time to revoke my credentials. This is Agent Jones requesting access to all materials related to the Seven. Oh, great! If you're not gonna give me what I need, I'm just gonna have to take it.
So he does, and with his newfound knowledge, he hops on a battle bus and heads straight for the island, where the Zero Point is on the brink of imploding. He rushes through all of the hunters he spent months recruiting and gets there just in time.
Unbelievable. It actually worked.
Okay. So one of the Seven returns.
Look, I know you have no reason to trust me, but... Oh no. Hang on! Let's talk! Let's talk! Geno! I can get you to Geno.
Well, Jenna.
And the sisters?
I can get you all of them. But I need your help to fix that.
Finally, we are introduced to the Foundation, the leader of the Seven who has been rivals with Geno for centuries. Now that Jones has offered to give him Geno, he's actually willing to help protect the Zero Point. As it starts to break down, the orb blooms like a flower. Jones has studied it his entire life, but this is the first time he's seen it react like this. Now, there's no time to admire it though. It's destabilized and is already way too far gone to save. The only option now is to contain the blast. The Foundation seals himself in a tower of stone, and in the ultimate sacrifice, tells Jones to overload his portal gun, leaving them both trapped in the loop. The Spire encases the Zero Point, with reality waves sending the island into a wild and feral state. It's overtaken by a primal biome as the IO scrambles to maintain control. They bring in the Spire Guardians, who are here to defend the Zero Point secrets from ancient hunters such as Raz. He claims that the Spire has been calling to him in his dreams, and he traveled here on a mission to learn its mysteries. While tracking down the island's artifacts, he discovers an unseen reality log left behind by Agent Jones. Raz immediately begins searching for the Spire's mysterious crystals, which in turn lead him to the ultimate artifact. Before we can stop Raz, one of Jonesy's snapshots gives us a chilling warning. There are people who think the Spire will make them powerful. It will, but it will also exploit their every weakness. Do not allow the Spire to corrupt someone powerful, or Jones does not stand a chance. Go now before the Spire attracts any more attention from the... Never mind, just hurry. Well, it's already a little too late, because Raz has found a crucial artifact that is way too dangerous to wield on his own. This shard is all too familiar. It's a piece of the cube that almost destroyed the island with the corruption still intact. Upon wielding it, Raz succumbs to the darkness, becoming aggressive and evil. Now, we're able to take it away from him in time, but the damage has already been done. Now, before we can discover just how important this key moment was, a comic reveals an extraordinary amount of secrets hidden underneath the island. As a DC crossover, it revolves around Batman, who has been trapped in the loop after investigating a rift in Gotham City. As the world's greatest detective, he is able to prepare an escape plan. With the help from Catwoman, he escapes the loop by standing in the center of the storm in the final seconds. Now, free to roam the island out of the loop, he comes across a group of inhabitants. They form an alliance and decide to get out of Reality Zero for good. Only problem is, they can't just swim away, they would disintegrate. And now that they've escaped the loop, there are no second chances. Death is permanent. There's only one way to get home, and it's the same way they got here, through the 0 point. The group is able to unlock one of the metal bunkers on the island and head underground in search of an escape. The room is extremely ancient, protected by massive golems and swarms of IO guards. It's a tough battle, and in the chaos, Fishstick is killed by an unknown figure. It becomes apparent one of the group is working for the Imagined Order. The others still
Wait,
in
hold
shock
on.
decide
Sorry, I don't mean to pause. I just wanted to read what he
to
said.
carry on. The further they progress,
Shoot.
the closer the battle, and in the chaos, Fishstick is killed by an unknown
It's
figure.
water as much as you
It
can.
becomes
Who did this? Relax, I got first aid supplies. No point unless I found something in the seabed buried in sand. I was bringing it to
apparent
you.
one of the group is working for the Imagined Order. The others, still in shock, decide to carry on. The further they progress, the closer they get to the 0 point. Eternal Voyager, in his desperation to escape, sprints into the orb and immediately gets split into a million pieces. The 0 point cycles through countless realities per second, which killed him instantly. He got his wish, he'll be voyaging for eternity. After hours of discussion, the group figures out how to calibrate the orb. Renegade Raider goes home first before one of the members reveals a dark secret. Deathstroke has been working with the Imagined Order all along. He was the one who killed Fishstick. So they break out into a fight before tying up Deathstroke, and most of the others escape to the 0 point as the Gotham City crew are left standing. Once the 0 point has finally been calibrated to their homeworld, Deathstroke flees to Gotham City as Batman and Catwoman go after him. Once they're home, the memories come flooding back. They may have worked together in the loop, but in their previous lives, they were rivals. More importantly, both of these events have worked together to allow the next phase of the story to progress. Heading all the way back to Raz, his use of the Dark Shard has gotten the wrong kind of attention. This is what Jonesy's snapshot warned us about. So as we look to the sky, UFOs begin to abduct loopers, crop circles appear, and a conspiracy theorist named Mari starts broadcasting about it. She warns the people of the island that aliens are coming, and this is far too dangerous for the IO. More importantly, Dr. Sloan, Agent Jones' boss, is dedicated to shutting down this broadcast, but the invasion has already begun.
And then there's Rick.
Sloan has no choice but to fight against them in the name of keeping control and maintaining order. The mothership sends a huge army down onto the island known as the Chimera. Their goal, annihilate everyone while the ship above abducts major locations. It moves around taking Slurpy Swamp, Coral Castle, and has its eyes on Holly Hedges. The Chimera also scan Looper's minds in an attempt to locate the 0 point, but Sloan has an epiphany. She's figured out that the Imagined Order has a mole who is secretly divulging information to the enemy. It's a perfect situation that can be manipulated as she feeds Maven false information. Of course, this gets into the hands of the Chimera, who learn that the IO secret base of operations is at Corny Crops. And yes, this is true, but what they don't know is that Sloan has filled the complex with a huge bomb. So right on cue, they move to Corny and abduct the POIs, satisfied that they have cornered the Imagined Order. Only this is part of a secret plan known as Operation Skyfire, and Sloan recruits loopers, aka us, to sneak on board and make sure everything goes smoothly. We break out of prison, making our way through the mothership, which at this point is full of guards and obstacles. Eventually, though, we make our way to the final room, an abduction chamber with Corny Complex and all of the bombs attached to it, primed and ready to go. Satisfied that Operation Skyfire is a near success, Sloan arms the bombs. Well, there's only one problem: the aliens have a last trick up their sleeve.
We thought it was gone for good. Last time it nearly destroyed the island.
We're able to shut it down, but with 2 minutes left until detonation, Sloan delivers the bad news.
You played your part. Now I have to play mine. We are fighting a war in which we are hopelessly outgunned. I won't bring you home. Not if there is a chance that thing can make it back to the
You
island.
backstabber.
Over and out.
The loopers are panicking, desperate for a way out. We approach the dying cube and collectively use our power to remove its corruption and restore its purity. Now glowing blue, it's on our side until the ground begins to rise. We've been standing on an elevator this entire time, and it was taking us higher and higher into the mothership. Turns out there's one final reveal, a plot twist that would send waves through the Imagined Order's ranks and change our perspective on the story forever. The Chimera didn't bring the cube from Chapter 1. In fact, they're not even the Chimera. That was just an enslaved army. The true evil is in this room. It is here we meet the last reality.
So many cubes. Okay, Sloan did a boo-boo and she's in trouble.
We may have taken down their mothership, but Sloan's plan backfired. Now all of these cubes have crashed onto the island, and one of them has become the most powerful villain to date. Sure, these are corrupted by a dark evil, but that power is controlled by a sinister character known as the Cube Queen. Exiting her golden shrine, she summons her army of caretakers and cube monsters to fight off the IO forces. Now you gotta understand, the last reality are very different to our villains of the past. Every threat we face has wanted to take control of the 0 point for themselves, aside from Galactus. But this motive is extremely worrying. The Cube Queen and her minions want to use a 0 point to destroy everything that has ever lived. Because it's tethered to all realities, they can eliminate life as we know it in an instant, making them truly the last reality. The Queen's plan has already come into fruition, but she needs the full power of her fleet back home in order to make it work. She sends her army of cubes to the center of the island, directly above the 0 point where they create a pyramid known as the Convergence. Sloan was fooled by the last reality during Operation Skyfire, but knowing what she's up against, it is finally time to put together a real plan, except she doesn't. Instead, the Imagined Order are more distracted by their newfound prisoner, Agent Jones. After being stuck in the loop, he was arrested for treason.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
Little do they know, someone else has been discovered too. The Foundation, dropped at the bottom of the ocean, wakes up. Months have passed since he was ejected from the 0 point, and he has no idea where he is. Leaving the ocean, he stumbles across Gotham City, the last place that the 0 point was calibrated to. In this strange world, the Foundation is immediately approached by Batman, who assumes he's a threat. After fighting, they talk it out, where the Foundation reveals that he has sworn enemies with the Imagined Order and has nothing to do with the loop. They want to take down the IO and liberate the 0 point, just like Batman does. He explains that the Seven have always had an advantage over the IO, because they have the ability to create sideways rifts. This is a way to traverse different realities without the 0 point. This technology was experimented with in Chapter 1 through the rocket launch. The only problem is, it takes a long time for the rift to close, making it extremely risky. On the other hand, the IO doesn't know how to do this. They need to use pure portals, basically the ones opened by their guns. So learning all of this, Batman agrees to help the Foundation return home. Once back, he realizes that he needs to find Agent Jones immediately. A lot has changed since being thrown from the Spire, but before then, he must update the other members of the Seven and figure out a plan to stop the last reality. Sloan and the Imagined Order have never cared about the fate of the island. As long as they maintain control of the orb, everyone dying, it's perfectly okay. It's happened time and time again, like the Zero Crisis or the Final Showdown, but the Seven, as usual, have to swoop in and save the day.
The last reality is at hand!
That's a whole lot of motherships.
Wake him up. You just had to be the hero, Jones. You know what happens to heroes?
They, live to fight another day?
Not this time. Do it.
No, don't do it, don't do it!
This isn't personal, Jones. Although I do plan to enjoy it. Would someone see what that is? Impossible. I watched you die.
I got over it.
Rock.
You came back for me.
You promised me Jeno.
Well, love you too, buddy.
Why does it look like the Rock?
Everyone follow me to the bridge. We'll be safe there. Don't worry, guys. I'll move the bus by myself. It's right up here, and I will give you a water break soon. Heads up! I know another way.
Is that a robot from earlier?
Careful, edges are hot.
Rotation at 30 degrees.
That's the last one. We did it.
Where's my gun?
Okay, I may have dropped it in the 0 point.
Why does she make me keep saving you?
Well, what about that?
Get ready to swim!
I think, what was that character's name? Raven something? I don't know. So the island, okay, got flipped. And then, whew. Okay. Interesting.
The island has flipped. The Imagined Order have been caught by total surprise, but so were the Seven. Their plan to take back control of the island has been stopped short by the caretaker breaching the wall, and because of this, their hiding spot for the past 4 years has been revealed. This whole time, they were living on the other side of the island at a place named Sanctuary, where they could keep their friends close, but enemies closer. Now, this peaceful retreat has been exposed to the Imagined Order, who are furious and already planning their counterattack. The Seven and IO have been at each other's throats, but never took full-scale action against each other until now, where the tension has reached boiling point, and thus the Zero War begins. As the Seven recruit as many loopers as possible, the IO already has them outgunned. Other members of the team join the fight, such as the Origin, who's drafting up battle plans to push back against the army. He has one of the most interesting backstories in the Seven. Once known as the Cube King, he ultimately realized that their dark energy could only be used for evil, so he escaped, leaving his identity behind for a new life. He was captured by the Imagined Order shortly afterwards, who tortured him for answers, but one day, the Seven broke in and rescued him. He walked out of that prison with a new name, the Origin, and has been their field tactician ever since. But he's not the only member with an intriguing life. The Order and the Imagined are the sisters that Foundation asked Jones to find. We don't know how they were reunited, but both of them are available to help in the war against their father, Geno. The Imagined has been spending her entire life trying to take revenge on her father. As children, he genetically modified them to be perfect warriors with immortality and super strength. Reality was their playground, but one day, things changed in an instant. One of the members of his inner circle offered him a bed. Could the sisters become the first ever to escape the loop, and how long would it take? Geno was confident, but his obsession with perfection was also their downfall. The sisters did end up escaping the loop, but not fast enough, and when they returned home, the loop had created snapshots. Only these versions were more brutal, and Geno had a realization. He replaced his own daughters with more powerful snapshots, forcing the sisters to turn their backs on him and join the Seven under new names. However, despite being twins, they have very different motives. The Order wants to help destroy the loop and give people their freedom, while the Imagined simply wants revenge. Despite all of this manpower, there's only one person left who could help win the fight, and she crashed onto the ice moon years ago. Yes, the scientist is adamant that reaching Paradigm will turn the tide in their favor. As far as the others are concerned, Paradigm is dead and a traitor, yet the scientist always held out hope. He's in love with her and is desperate to see her again. After breaking through to her, it turns out she's alive but trapped inside the mech. To convince the others, scientist tells him that he was talking with the AI in her suit instead. At that same time, Sloane is busy on her counterattack. With the loopers rally behind the Seven, she realizes they're losing the battle and decides on a more destructive plan. Instead of wasting resources by fighting on land, she calls up her Doomsday department and begins working on a device known as the Collider. Yeah, the same one that was going to be used during the final showdown before Paradigm talked them out of it. If it destroys the Seven for good, Sloane will stop at nothing to achieve that goal. The Order hears about these plans and tells the others. The rescue mission is a go, not for Paradigm, but for her mech, which will be essential to destroying the Collider and winning the Zero War. Before they could do that, they need a powerful energy in order to power the mech, called the Zero Shard. In a secret mission, the Seven sneak into the bridge with the help of Agent Jones, who explores the wreckage. He finds his old office, which is now upside down, and picks up a framed photo. It's of his wife and kids, which he left behind hundreds of years ago. You see, when you join the Imagined Order, you swear an oath, and in return are granted immortality. Your family could also take this offer, but they need to live on the island, and Jones's family refused to do that, despite living on a dangerous homeworld. As a result, they weren't immortal and only had protection. They lived to ripe old ages as Jones was forced to watch his wife die. As his kids got older too, he told the Imagine Order that he wanted to go back and grow old, dying with his grandchildren that he barely knew. He was just too useful to Sloane by then, and she reminded him that if he quit, his family would lose the protection on their homeworld. So he stayed, for descendants he has never met. Now that it's eating him up inside, and as he dwells on it, the mission must continue. They continue their search for the Zero Shard, eventually finding out that it's located on the Ice Moon. Perfect, they can crush two birds with one stone. Well, that's until they approach a frozen castle, something that has remained undisturbed for a very long time. As the crew walk inside, they find a room full of artifacts, ancient weapons frozen in pillars, and at the end of the corridor, the Ice King, who reveals his true intentions after all this time. Greetings, visitors. To reach my throne room alive is an achievement indeed. Uncounted ages ago, brave allies and I began collecting items of power, things and beings too dangerous to exist. My worst fears were realized when my staunchest comrade argued for using these items to alter realities to our liking. I was forced to freeze him, my other knights, and all we had acquired. So yes, this explains why the Ice King and Fire King were at war with each other, despite the fact that they used to share a round table. He wasn't a prisoner because of a small disagreement. The Ice King was protecting reality this entire time. The reason the Ice Moon is so uninhabitable is because it was designed that way, so he could be isolated for all time. Now that they're standing in his impenetrable fortress, their presence here proves they are too dangerous to remain free. But before they can be wiped out by the Ice King, a familiar face shows up, Paradigm. She grabs them and destroys the castle. We're headed back to the island one way or another. The Zero War is about to end.
Crew to battle stations.
Mech returns.
We don't have much time to hit the collider. Clear a path. I'll get us there. Legend? I thought you were on the case.
Yeah. Nothing we can't handle. Just as soon as we figure it out.
All enemy forces have been eliminated. This is our chance. Divert power to blade strike. Hold on! Eject!
In the wreckage, the final battles commence. Dr. Sloane is the Seven's last obstacle before reaching the collider.
Sloane! You don't have to do this!
Always so dramatic. Any last words, Jones?
Yes.
So with Sloane out of the picture, the Order and the Imagine look up, only to spot their father, Geno. He's here to personally face off against them and gets the Order in a chokehold. This is ridiculous. You're still my blood. Just ask and I'll let you live. Send you somewhere safe. Little does he know, the Imagine isn't very interested. I have a better idea. We'll set you somewhere, father, everywhere. In one last sacrifice, the Imagine decides that killing Geno is worth the cost. She gets her final wish, tackling him straight into the 0 point, and as it cycles through countless realities, they are both ripped apart, atoms scattered across the Omniverse.
Who is that?
The 0 point is focused on Geno. This is our best chance to find him.
Let's go!
All right, it's up to you now. We don't have much time. Don't worry, I got you.
Jones and the Foundation chase Geno, not expecting to see him fading away. Imagine has died in his arms and he's slowly passing too. Geno has one final message for the Foundation. You always believed my methods were abhorrent, that you knew a better way. Congratulations, and now you get to prove it. I genuinely hope you're right, because if you fail, it means the end of everything. I have to go now. I have to admit, it's good to lay my burden down after all this time. It'll be nice to rest. He fades into nothing. Geno is dead in the imagined order.
Wait, hold on, sorry.
It'll be nice to rest. He fades into nothing.
What?
Geno, lay my burden down
Wait,
after
hold
all
on.
this time. It'll be nice to rest. He fades
What? I worked for you for Sentry? Oh.
into nothing. Geno is dead and the imagined order have been defeated. The Zero War is over and they won. Celebrations across the island spread like wildfire. Now the 0 point is finally liberated. It can blossom, nature takes over, but not everything is as it seems. The orb starts sending out distress signals, and strange relics begin to appear around the island. The scientist is confused and can't understand why it's doing this. But it's all the work of a villain hiding in the shadows, a herald who is secretly using the 0 point to search across the Omniverse. And in her search, she finds the Nothing. This is a truly evil presence that gives her the dark power of Chrome, and it's about to be unleashed upon the island in the name of her old friends, the Last Reality. With Geno out of the way and the 7 caught off guard, it consumes everyone. The scientist, Origin, and a whole lot more are devoured, turned into Chrome, while Paradigm is the sole survivor. The only thing she can do is return to her homeworld, creating a plan that'll bring her friends back and save reality. Except Chrome is just too powerful.
Keep firing. Keep firing. You gotta shoot.
The Herald destroys the island to expose the 0 point, ready for the Last Reality to swoop in and take it. Lucky for us, in a surprising turn of events, the 0 point protects itself, destroying the mothership and fleeing. It's here that Paradigm comes into play. Using Zero Fusion, she's able to work with the orb and rebuild the island. Grabbing from countless realities to form a new world, everything is pieced back together. With the 7 turned to Chrome and the imagined order gone, it is time for a fresh start.
All right.
On this new island, the scientist robot assistant, Amy, leaves us with a final message from Paradigm. She asks us to deliver a mysterious kinetic ore to the one who lives in this medieval castle. We do so, learning that its ruler is the Ageless, a young king who looks a little too familiar. The reality was brought to the island during Zero Fusion, and it becomes apparent who this actually is. Judging from the banners, his appearance, and obsession with perfection, we're looking at Geno. Well, a snapshot of him. This is the ruler of the Oathbound who was left in Geno's place when he abandoned his homeworld. His right-hand man is Stellan the Rift Warden, who wishes to create a bridge to new realities. It wasn't possible with their medieval technology until they were brought to the island and discovered kinetic ore. With our refined version, they have unlocked the power to create pure portals. Yes, the origins of the Imagined Order are replaying themselves in real time, and the ore was a big help. But Stellan can't make this portal without another influence, a voice that guides him every step of the way. He kept this to himself, terrified of what he would do if he disobeyed their orders.
There is a being, a shapeless man. He watches us with dark purpose. If we do not finish the rift gate, the consequences will be terrible.
The final step in building this bridge to realities is deep in the forest, a bronze vault made to protect the 0 point. Of course, you need this power in order to make pure portals, and the voice in Stellan's head shows in the way. Except, it's quickly becoming obvious that this rift gate wasn't made to connect realities. It's a portal leading to the Shapeless Man. More importantly, this voice in Stellan's head has dark intentions, and his identity could already be known. Only one man has the overwhelming power to rebuild himself atom by atom, the real Geno. Turns out that after the Foundation and Jones left him to die, this wasn't the end of his story. And while he remains shapeless, he's directing his original kingdom to bring him back to the island. At least that's the intention. So Amy begins an investigation of her own as we send test subjects through the gate. They return disfigured or corrupted by darkness. It seems that everything Amy sends through the portal immediately goes searching for him, as he is her creator. But when they return, they give us an update on the fate of the 7.
He's different now. They're all different now. As we speak, they change its scope of his existence anew. A fate darker than the worst imaginable. You'll find him. But will you get there in time to save him?
The Foundation once said that their armor keeps them alive in different realities, even the nothing beyond them. But after being devoured by Chrome, they're different now, slowly losing themselves to the darkness. Amy, as a robot, is programmed to protect the scientist and does everything in her power to save him. She prepares a rescue mission with a new body and goes through the rift gate. This will be the last time we see Amy. Instead, the portal begins to destabilize, bringing more realities to the island before breaking down and closing. The resulting earthquakes cause the ground to collapse on itself, revealing this abandoned world. The Shapeless Man's plan failed, but there's another villain around the corner and he will change the storyline as we know it forever. Before that happens, we look deep into the jungle where our mind is blown. In the wreckage of a crush tank, Dr. Sloan emerges. She survived the Zero War and is confused by how she got here. However, it's not long before she gets her bearings and begins to investigate this strange ancient world. In the ruins, she finds markings that predict the future, along with an apparatus used by those who lived here thousands of years ago. She had no idea what happened to this society. They were an advanced civilization who used the stars to project the future, and yet they vanished without a trace. The markings seem to show an incoming eclipse that'll bring the end of the world. But with further research, Sloan realizes that this phenomenon isn't natural. How could the ancients predict this with the stars if it wasn't a natural event? There's only one explanation: it has already happened before. They're warning us that soon it'll happen again. So Sloan realizes the signal is all too familiar and calls an old friend for backup. And just like that, it's time for the eclipse to arrive. As the daylight is covered and the island is shrouded in darkness, Cato Thorne makes himself known. He's a vampire who's made a whole career collecting various artifacts from across the galaxy. On the surface, he runs a successful hotel resort business, but in the shadows, Cato has a time machine. He uses this to travel through history, collecting relics and treasures for his own personal collection, such as Oro's skull, Midas' severed hand, and an ancient calendar which seemed to have ties to the Seven. Now, he's arrived in 2023 at the perfect opportunity for Sloan to pull off a daring heist. She's abandoned the Imagined Order, or what's left of it, realizing the error of her ways, or so we think, as she keeps to herself and focuses on this mysterious plan. Phase 1 of this operation involves stealing the time machine from under Cato Thorne's nose. She hires a group of professional thieves to pull off the heist of a century as they sneak into his mansion and get away without a problem. Before Cato can retaliate and feast on his prey, he has even bigger worries. As a time-traveling vampire, he has made a lot of enemies, especially hunters like Shimmerdusk, who have spent years chasing him. Now, without the time machine as an escape route, Cato is left defenseless, and she slays her arch-nemesis once and for all. With Cato dead and the device in Sloan's hands, it's time for Phase 2. They experiment with the machine at a temporary headquarters, bringing artifacts from 2018 to their front yard. It functions as intended, and Sloan is confident that this will work. She just needs a helping hand from an old acquaintance, Agent Jones. He's laid low after the Zero War, but with Sloan's influence, she persuades him to go on her secret mission.
Still don't trust Sloan.
Past. His goal is to extract an unknown thing or person without changing the timeline. So they set the date, July 12, 2018, and Jones begins his journey. All that's there to guide him are audio logs left by Sloan, as she sends messages from the future back in time with a deadly reminder.
Everything you do will ripple forward to this very moment. You're back here for a reason. And it's not to change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction, and you're leading the way.
Well, despite this, Jones has started to alter the timeline. The Ice King and his prisoner never arrive in the island. The mech never gets constructed, and in order to complete his extraction, Jones ties the time machine to the scientist's rocket. The future, for the first time, is unknown.
This is the first time in countless lifetimes that I don't know what happens next. We're both heading off into the unknown. I guess this is goodbye for this me and that you. But we'll meet again. Reality's not done with us yet. Keep the campfires burning, Jones. Wherever and whenever you go.
Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. This has been something me and my team have followed for years. So while things feel confusing at times, it brings me so much joy to piece it all together like this. Recently, the creator of Fortnite Storyline has departed from Epic Games. So I dedicate this video to Donald Mustard for bringing so much joy and happiness to our community. Hope you all enjoyed.
Oh my goodness. That is nuts. That is... I just remember the bits and bobs here and there in the original series when Fortnite first came out, with the rocket and the rift, the giant mech battle, the cube, and after that I kind of left, and it was into chapter 2, but I never got into that Fortnite stuff. So the whole thing was just a big timey-wimey thing that just happened, and I'm just like, man, that's nuts. So I am honestly shocked, but also this is an imaginative story. A lot of time messery around here, that's for certain. But overall, it was a great. This was a great video. I am actually happy that. So, thank you for recommending this. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this crazy video. But if you made it to the end, I do appreciate that you managed to watch with me. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe hit that notification if you wish. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and hope you had a good time. And as always, I'll be sure to leave a link for the guy's video, and I'll put some stuff over here. But yeah, I just want to say thank you all for all the love and support, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Okay, so Romans, salute.